Good morning, 8th grade. Happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are doing well. Go ahead and hit pause and try to figure out the part of speech and definition. Okay, so for part of speech, every single one of you will get it correct because we have the word deter, and it could also be deterred. And of course, although I haven't heard it very often, I think deterring is also a possible form of this word. This is one part of speech changes based on tense, and that part of speech is a verb. Very good. Now let's figure out what the definition is. Weather never deterred Jody from playing golf. As you can see, she still plays golf even though there's horrible weather. So let's plug in a word. Weather never prevented, dissuaded, never, I think prevented would be a really good synonym. Brian's broken leg prevented him from playing softball. Exactly. That is what deterred means. To prevent from doing something. Very good. All right, the very first thing I want to talk to you about today is attendance. Attendance is very, very important. So please, on the class page, when I post a video, please make sure you comment below and say that you're done watching the video. Okay, that's very important for me and for all of your teachers to make sure that we can keep track of your guys' attendance, because we need to prove to the state that you guys are actually in school in order to promote you to the next grade. So very important. Please hit done or type out done and hit comment. Okay? That would be very helpful for me and for all of your teachers. All right? You should be checking in some way for all of your classes. Okay? So please make sure you're doing that. Okay, so to begin Act 4, Scene 2, we're going to have a little quiz here. Okay, so quiz yourself. Letter A. Who said this? Where I have learned me to repent the sin of disobedient opposition to you and your behests, and am enjoined by holy Lawrence to fall prostrate here, and beg your pardon. Pardon, I beseech you. Henceforward I am ever ruled by you. Go ahead and hit pause. Don't look. See if you can figure out who said this. Let's move on to the second one. Send for the county. Go tell him of this. I'll have this knot knit up tomorrow morning. Do you remember who said that? Okay. Let's go back to this first example. Who went to Friar Lawrence and learned to repent the sin of disobedient opposition? Who just went to Friar Lawrence? Of course, it was Juliet. And Juliet says, henceforward I am ever ruled by you. Who's you, do you think? Who was she disobedient towards? It was her father. So she tells her father, henceforward I am ever ruled by you. And her father hears this and says, send for the county. Send for Paris. Go tell him of this. I'll have this knot knit up tomorrow morning. You guys may have heard the phrase tied the knot. They're not actually tying a knot, are they? No, to tie the knot means to get married, but you're not actually tying knots. That would be an idiom. Very good. So, Capulet, Juliet tells him, I am ruled by you. He rules over her. She will do whatever he says. And so he says, go and send for the county. Is Juliet telling the truth? Does she actually intend on marrying Paris? Yikes. So this scene ends with Capulet saying, Old Tosh, I will stir about, and all things shall be well. I warrant thee, wife, go thou to Juliet, help to deck her up. I'll not to bed to-night. Let me alone. I'll play the housewife for this once. What ho! They are all forth. Well, I will walk myself to County Paris to prepare him up against tomorrow. My heart is wondrous light, since this same wayward girl is so reclaimed. So the scene ends with Capulet being very excited for tomorrow, very excited for the wedding, and he says that he will play the housewife for once. He will get everything prepared for the wedding. Okay, let's. There's one question on your handout that I'd like you to consider, which is what is the goal? What's the purpose of this scene? What really happens here? If you were a director, would you decide to keep it or not? Go ahead and hit pause and answer that question. Okay, and I'm going to move on. Okay, so we're going to read 4.3 now. I shall be Juliet, and you should be Lady Capulet. And the goal here is to try to sound like your mom. Okay, that's your only goal. Try to sound like a mom. Okay. Ay, those attires are best, but, gentle nurse, I pray thee, leave me for myself tonight. For I have need of many orisons, to move the heavens to smile upon my state, which well thou knowest is cross and full of sin. No, madam, we have called such necessaries as are behooveful for our state tomorrow. So please you, let me now be left alone, and let the nurse this night sit up with you, for I am sure you have your hands full all in this so sudden business. Exeunt, Lady Capulet and nurse. Okay, so the Juliet here sends away Lady Capulet and the nurse. She says, have the nurse sit up with you, for I am sure you have your hands full. That would be another what? Are their hands actually filled with something? No, she's saying your hands are full. You have a lot to do for this sudden business, for this wedding. That would be another idiom. But is that the case? Is that why Juliet doesn't want Lady Capulet and the nurse to be with her? Of course not. We know more than Lady Capulet and the nurse. We know Juliet's plan, but they don't. What type of irony would that be? Dramatic, exactly. So we know more than the characters. Okay, so what we're going to do now is Juliet has this really long speech to close out the scene. And we're going to go one line back and forth. Okay, so I'll start and we'll go back and forth. What you're going to try to do after we finish the speech is you're going to try to find a quote that shows Juliet experiencing these emotions. So you're going to find a quote that shows Juliet is scared. You're going to find a quote that shows that Juliet is lonely or that she feels isolated from everyone else. You're going to find a quote that shows that Juliet is hallucinating. And you're going to find a quote showing that Juliet is suspicious or that she might be paranoid. Now, you only have to find a quote for 3 out of those 4 emotions. Obviously, you can find 4 out of 4, and you'll get a bonus point if you do that, okay? Please make sure you write the quotes the right way. So Juliet is going to go through a gauntlet of emotions here. She's going to go through a lot of emotions. So we're trying to find quotes that show her feeling each of these emotions, okay? And that is the only question for this scene on the handout. All right, so I'm going to start and we'll go one line back and forth, okay? So please read along with me. Farewell, God knows when we shall meet again. That almost freezes up the heat of life. Nurse? Oh, what should she do here? Come, Vile. Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? Laying down her dagger. What if it be a poison which the friar, lest in this marriage he should be dishonored? Oh, I fear it is, and yet methinks it should not. How if, when I am laid into the tomb, come to redeem me? Oh, now there's a fearful point. To whose foul mouth no healthsome air breathes in? Or, if I live, is it not very like, together with the terror of that place, where for these many 100 years the bones, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, at some hours in the night spirits resort, so early waking, what with loathsome smells, that living mortals hearing them run mad, environed with all these hideous fears, and pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, as with a club dash out my desperate brains, seeking out Romeo that did spit his body. Romeo, I come, this do I drink to thee. Okay, my friends. So go back through that speech, and you're trying to find a quote for each of these emotions. Again, you only need 3 out of the 4, and please make sure you write the quote the right way. You can go ahead and hit pause, and make sure you find a quote for each of those. Okay. Your homework that is due on Friday by 7:59. All right, all of your homework is going to be due by the next remote learning day at 8 a.m. because that's when the remote learning day begins. Your homework is to read Act 4, Scene 4 and Act 4, Scene 5. I recommend that you read it twice and that you read it out loud. Out loud is the best. It is going to help you so much to get better at speaking, my friends. And it'll probably help you for your speech for Mr. Florian. Okay. There is an optional art assignment. Now, again, this is optional. Do not do this if you are overwhelmed with any other work, okay? But I need some backgrounds for my play. So I could use a banquet hall. I could use a beach. I could use a graveyard. So if you draw me, or, something, a background, I will post them on my computer, and that will be the background for my puppet show. All right? But again, that is optional. It is not needed. Okay? But it would be kind of cool. You'll definitely get a shout out in my video, and you might even win, I don't know, a sock puppet. All right, my friends. I hope you're having a good day. Please let me know if I can help out in any way, and please comment that you watched the whole video. All right? Stay awesome.